Ladies and gentlemen, it is officially Mother's Day weekend, and we're here at the Darlington Raceway for our 9th race of the season, the Southern 500 for the NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series. 147 laps. We were initially going to do 184 laps, but seeing as how that would have taken a lot longer, this race and also the truck race that I'll be running later will both be 147 laps apiece. Just to save up some time before our main stream to later on tonight. But as far as today, we're going McDonald's Cup Series racing from the Lady in Black, the track that is known as Too Tough to Tame, Darlington Raceway for our 9th race of the season. If last time where we left off, of course, we were back at the Talladega Superspeedway last week, where we did see some strung out super speedway racing, but for the most part, it was probably one of the calmest Talladega races that we've ever had, despite having a couple of yellow flags. But at the end of the day, of course, it was Chad Gronkowski edging out Alex. I believe it was Matthew Hubert for his first NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series win. And he catapults himself up pretty well in the point standings. Let's go ahead and take a look at those here real quick. Of course, your top 10 goes as follows. You see John Andrews holding onto the points lead just by 30 points over Val Mosco, who has 211 in his bank account. Alex Savatali, our Martinsville winner, third with 202. Edson Hernandez with 188 in his bank account. Dale Johnson with 186, tied with Will Parrish. But due to Google Sheets physics, Johnson's going to break that tie, so that will put Parrish in 6th. Then you have Skylar Taylor with 182. BB Hange, Michael Young, both of those guys both have 176 points, but BB Hange should be the one breaking the tie since he does have the win back in the Daytona 500. So he would be 8th, then Michael Young would be 9th, and then Kyler Sustry would be in the top 10 with 170 points. Here's a look at the rest of your points results. You see there, Chad Gronkowski, our Talladega winner, skyrockets up to the 11th position in the point standings with 167 points to his name. There's a lot of drivers that actually got some pretty decent points days back at Talladega. Nia Seidel was another one. She ended up, I believe, getting a top 5 in that race. So Seidel, of course, turning her season around for the most part, and so far doing a really good job, if I may say. But there's still a lot of drivers that I would really love to see get some really good points days. Daniel Adams won. Daniel Adams is one. Nathan Stapleton is another one. He has just had an abysmal start to the season, and it just hasn't gotten any better, especially since last week at Talladega. PJ Vidal is another one. He starts on pole here for today's race. He comes in dead last in the point standings. You see right there, 56 points to his name. So what a day it would be for him if he were to get a really good finish, maybe a top 5, top 10. If he stays right where he's at the entire time, he could win this race and get some really good point standings that would move him up quite a bit in the points. So we're just going to have to wait and see what 147 laps of action is going to look like from here at Darlington. It's going to be very interesting. Let's go ahead and take a look at our qualifying results. Of course, you see, as I mentioned, Vidal on the pole, Stephen Colon, who unfortunately wrecked out at Darlington by getting turned, due to getting turned by his own teammate, Val Mosco, through the tri-oval. He starts 2nd in this race. Savatali 3rd. Our points leader, John Andrews, getting himself a good qualifying position, starting in the 4th spot. Then Roberto Crown Jr. 5th. Then Matthew Hubert, our runner-up from Talladega last week. Rogel Dorn, Tyler Belladonna, John Felber, Edson Hernandez, the top 10. Then we have Val Mosco, Zachary Fitzwater, Ryan Durrani, Michael Young, Skylar Taylor, Damian Kyle Wood, Nathan Stapleton, Sebastian Palmer, BB Hange, Casey Wells, the top 20. Then Floyd, Murray, Terry Walker, Will Parrish, Tatiana Noguera, our Texas winner, Travis Crampton, Sammy Cars, Dale Johnson, the 2nd, Hamill, Sustry, the top 30. And then our final 12 starters, Josh Lee, DeFeo, Gronkowski, Block, O'Brien, Steidel, Adams, Wyatt Walker, Bryce Egan, Jeremiah Simpson, Matt Jones, Alex Rampus. That is your field. That is your starting lineup. That will be taking the green flag here at the Darlington Raceway. This is going to be a very fun one. So glad that you guys could be here on this Mother's Day weekend. It's going to be a fun one. 147 laps to distance from here at the Darlington Raceway. 9th race of the season, almost to the halfway point. It's going to be fun. The drivers are strapped into their cars. Pre-race ceremonies are wrapping up. Let's go trackside to get the command to fire the engines.
Drivers, start your engine!
Engines are fired. Pace car is rolling off. And so are these 42 competitors as they take their double file formation. $147 laps to distance from here at the Darlington Raceway. On a throwback weekend, a Mother's Day weekend. It's gonna be a fun one. I don't even know what else to really say. I'm just really excited. I'm just really excited to get this race started because this is going to be one. This probably might be a banger of a race. You never quite know. We're just about to find out as they work their way through turns 3 and 4 behind the Sheriff, Vidal, and Stephen Colon of Duo of Chevrolets is going to lead the field of the green flag as they come off of turn number 4. Right in front of the grandstands, heading towards the flag stand on the front straightaway. Here we go. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. Green flag is out. We're racing here in Darlington. Good start by everybody. PJ Vidal breaks out with the lead. Colon will be in the second position. And Alex Savatali wasting no time down on the bottom side. He's going to try to go for second on Stephen Colon. Vidal's going to lead lap number 1. Get that one bonus point put into his bank account. And now he's going to start trying to check out. But Stephen Colon is not too far behind him. As they head down the back straightaway, full song, side by side for the third position. We have Savatali and John Andrews going at it. Then right behind them, Roberto Crown Jr. and Matthew Hubert fighting it out what looks to be for the 5th position. Savatali is going to fend off the number 17 at the line. While the top 2, Colon and Vidal, both start to break away. These duos of cars, at least the 2 double file formation cars, they were fighting side by side, but it looks like they're going to get settled in right where they are because they know it is still 147 laps. It's still a pretty long way to go. John Andrews is going to end up taking that 3rd position away, but Savatali, he wants that 3rd spot back. He's going to go right back down to the inside, but I believe, yeah, he got down on the apron. And when you get down on that apron, of course, your car is going to get a little bit loose. And when you do that, it's going to force you to check up a little bit. And that is exactly what happened to Alex Savatali. So give that 3rd position over to John Andrews, who comes into this race as our points leader. Bear that in mind. He is yet to get a win this season, but still consistently performing extremely well here in this McDonald's Cup Series season. He tucks in that 3rd position. Savatali's going to tuck in 4th. Then we have Matthew Hubert 5th, Crown 6th. Rogel Dorn sitting in the 7th position. John Felber 8th. Belladonna 9th. Val Moscow completing the top 10. Meanwhile, we've got I believe it was going to be the 16 and the 4 going at it for position, but it looks like Tyler Belladonna is going to think of it twice. He's going to sit right back there in the 9th position, at least for the moment. And you see these drivers kind of go single file. They know, again, they know that it's going to be very early in this race. You can't really race every single lap. You got to take care of your stuff and make sure you can at least have a car that's going to run that's going to run up with the leaders at the end. So you're going to see a lot of these drivers get into a single file formation. Unless if you're some of these other guys, then you're going to try to get as many positions as you possibly can until these drivers go single file. Derek Hamill tried on Will Parrish, you saw there, but got down on the apron like Alex Savatali did, and that forced him to get out of the gas just a little bit and let this 2-car go. But these drivers are going to be saving everything that they can here for a vast majority of this event, so I wouldn't expect these drivers to stay in the single file formation for a while. But pit stops for sure are going to change that. That will be for sure. Comes Chad Gronkowski, our winner from Talladega last week, trying to get a position on Dale Johnson. Johnson was pretty dominant at Talladega last week. He ended up leading, I believe, a high of 19 laps. We had a lot of different leaders, but Johnson was out front for a good portion of the event, leading 19 laps, as I mentioned. But so far in this race, he's not faring too well right now, sitting in the 30th position right behind Travis Crampton, another driver who hasn't really been faring too well in this season either. He'd have some good performances. He had a couple moments under the spotlight, but unfortunately, tonight is just not one of them. He's just had an abysmal season, along with other drivers like Nathan Stapleton. But for sure, as far as Travis Crampton's case, he's definitely going to have he definitely is going to have to find a way to try to move his way up in the points standings. I mean, not just perform well in one race and then kind of not have a good performance on all the other ones, but of course, for Travis Crampton's case, he is going to have to start picking up his performances for sure, because running here in 29th isn't going to do you any good. It's just going to keep you right where you are in the point standings. So for Crampton, he's definitely going to have to pick it up along with a lot of these other drivers that are pretty deep in the point standings. Terry Walker's another one. Walker performed pretty well at the start of the season, but then he kind of just fell back quite a ways, and that's definitely not something that you want to see, especially out of Terry Walker. Even for guys like Nathan Stapleton, again, as I mentioned, he has just had an abysmal start to the season, and as time has gone on, it hasn't really done him any better. He'd have some good runs, but unfortunately, the results that he get would not back up some of the performances that he's had. But as of tonight, right now, sitting in the 15th position, running pretty solid. So far, so good here for this number 42. Here in the early going of the Southern 500 here at the Darlington Raceway. Meanwhile, let's go back and take a look at the top, back up towards the front of the field. Really no change thus far. Everybody kind of just minding their own P's and Q's, running single file, at least for the time being. And you see a lot of these other drivers, of course, they're kind of taking these distinct lines. Here we go, we got a battle for the race lead. Here comes Stephen Colon underneath of the 13 of PJ Vidal. Down to the inside goes the 24 of Stephen Colon. We got John Andrews looking on. Colon did get down on the apron. That was definitely not what he wanted, so that's going to force him to get back in line. But I was about to say, you saw a lot of these other drivers kind of take these different lines through 3 and 4. Some of them were down towards the bottom, down against the white line. Then, of course, some of them were in the second group. Some of them were right up against the wall. So lots of different lines are being taken, and some of these drivers are definitely experimenting with where their car performs best at. See Crown, Rogel Dorn, they're almost right up against the wall, right up in that third line. But so far, so good here in these 16 laps that have been ran here at the Darlington Raceway for the Southern 500. If you're just now tuning in, so far we've been caution-free so far in the early stages of this race. I believe Zachary Taylor might have just scraped the wall. because he came off of turn 2 really high. Let's see, no, I don't think he really got a whole lot of damage on that number 9. So far so good for Zachary Fitzwater. Fitzy didn't have himself a good race at Talladega whatsoever after getting himself a good starting position, but just didn't fare too well. Currently today, sitting in the 13th spot, doing a very nice job, running pretty consistently inside of the top 15. But again, if you're just tuning in, we've been caution-free for the opening stages of the Southern 500. Of course, PJ Vidal started on pole. He's led every lap thus far. We've had some good fights here and there. Vidal's going to try to check out. And we almost had ourselves a fight for the 3rd position as Savitali was trying to take it back from John Andrews. But looks like Savitali has lost a little bit of momentum, but still trying to hang tough with the 2nd and 3rd place, as PJ Vidal is starting to check out just a little bit. Battle for the 4th position is on, as we might have ourselves a battle for 2nd. John Andrews. Oh, he got down on the apron. That's not exactly what you want. Matthew Hubert did the same thing. I was hoping he wasn't going to be able... I was hoping he wouldn't do it. But he joins the trend, and unfortunately, he's going to stay right where he's at right now. Meanwhile, we were starting to see some pretty good good battles here and there. Got the 83, Sebastian Palmer. Oh, he got down on the apron again. Well, another car's got down on the apron. And we're going to see another one. Yep, there it is. So far, Ava Murray joins the list of drivers that have gone down, that have managed to dip their cars down on the apron and lose some momentum. Definitely not something that you want. But so far, we haven't really seen a whole lot of incident here in the Southern 500. Oh, that was another thing. So pit stops are going to probably be happening right around towards the halfway point, at least right around the halfway point. I forgot to put the pit stops at ×2, so they're at ×1 for this race. So that was a big oopsies on my part. I guess that's what happens when you wake up at least probably about an hour before streaming and everything, and your mind is still trying to wake up. And then you forget a few things. So my apologies for that. Next week, when we go to Kansas, of course, that's going to be a little bit different. The looks on pit stops, of course, would be very different. But so far, so good here in this race. 23 laps complete. PJ Vidal has led every single one of those laps. And we're kind of, and again, we're starting to see, we're seeing these drivers kind of spread out a little bit, but I wouldn't expect that to 100% last once pit stops come around. The drivers take these distinct lines through the corners. Coming off of turn 4, Casey Wells almost right up against the wall, trying to go for a pass on BB Hange, but dipped her car down below the apron. And now she's going to lose some momentum and dipped her car below the apron again. A lot of these drivers are definitely dipping their cars down on the apron, not by design, but it's definitely not something that's going to help you gain track position either. How about this for history over here? Sammy Cars, 43, 21, Tatiana Nogueira. How ironic that these two cars were fighting it out at a track like Darlington with both of these numbers, so much history in real life for NASCAR. On a track that has so much history in real life, Darlington Raceway. How ironic that these two have found each other on this famed Lady in Black. My goodness gracious. But so far, everybody is kind of minding their own P's and Q's again. If you're just now tuning in, 27 laps are about to be complete this time by. PJ Vidal has led every single lap thus far. and everybody's gotten themselves into a single file formation, at least for the most part. Some drivers would take these distinct lines, and sometimes it would enable side-by-side battles, kind of like this one, but also it would enable this. As you see Bob Floyd dip his car down below onto the apron, and that would cause him to lose momentum, and he would have to tuck right back in right where he is, right behind Damian Kyle Wood in that number 38 machine. That is all that has been happening thus far here at the Darlington Raceway for the Southern 500. 28 laps complete. As you see Tatiana Noguera dip their car down below the apron. Probably might do it again here. Yep, there it is. As they head down the back straightaway. Back into turn number 3. Everybody single file. Stapleton right up against the wall. Almost right up against the wall. I thought that would have been a spot for Michael Young to capitalize, but I guess that just hasn't really been the case. So far, Young has kind of stayed right behind this number 42. Everybody else has kind of stayed right behind one another, but so far here in this race, everybody just taking it calm. Very, very calm. "30 laps complete. From here at the Darlington Raceway. Down the back straightaway they go. Full song ahead. You know, at some point, eventually, we are going to have change for track position. The question is when. Looks like John Andrews might have been teasing a battle for the second position. He kind of had his nose dip below. Kind of dipped out from out of line. But I thought he was going to be able to get that second position away from Stephen Colon, but I guess that has not 100% been the case. So he'll be sitting in that third position. Everybody else kind of just sitting right where they are, which is kind of surprising to me because I thought we would have had some racing where we would have seen drivers kind of just try to make some passes, try to get some track position, just kind of like how Alex Savatali is. But the problem is a lot of the drivers, the moment that they would do that and go side by side, they would dip below that dotted line down onto the apron, and that would cause them to check up and lose momentum. And that just would kill the side. That would kill the side-by-side racing. And it's going to happen right here with Tyler Belladonna. He got down underneath of John Felber. Moscow in the wall. So our first case of the Darlington stripe has hit here at Darlington Raceway. And Moscow is going to lose some track position. It looks like he went from 10th. He's going to fall all the way back to 14th. So that is our first Darlington stripe of the night. So that moves Edson Hernandez up inside of the top 10. Stapleton and Fitzwater going at it for position. And it looks like Fitzy's going to get that advantage over Nathan Stapleton because Stapleton dipped his car down onto the apron. So I believe that is also going to be something that we're going to have to watch for. That is another thing, the Darlington stripe. We saw it just a little bit ago with Val Moscow. We could see it again with some of these other drivers. Another thing that I'm starting to notice is that as these drivers continue to go in single file formation, they start to kind of go a little bit higher and higher and higher through the turns. Especially through 1 and 2. You see it more in 1 and 2 than you do over here in 3 and 4. So that is going to have to be something that we're going to watch as this race goes on and as this green flag run goes on. How much longer can these drivers go before we see more and more cars get up into the outside wall? Either that or get up into the outside wall and then cause a wreck and then cause a yellow flag, because that's going to be something else that we're going to have to watch for. Because unless if these drivers manage to keep their heads together and go caution free, I'm not 100% sure they might be able to do it. We're just going to have to find out though. You see a lot of these drivers, they're going up right up against the outside wall, but so far everybody's been doing a really nice job of kind of keeping their cool, minding their own P's and Q's. So far, so good. Savitali got really close to that outside wall there for a good while through 3 and 4. You saw it right there. Ooh, Felper also really close to getting up into that outside wall, but so far so good for the number 16. The only victim to the Darlington stripe thus far has been Val Moscow. But I don't expect him to be the only one on that list. My suspicion on Zachary Fitzwater still is kind of lurking. Because again, he came off of turn 2 quite a while ago, really high up against the wall. At least close to the wall, so I'm not 100% sure that he did not get into the outside wall like Val Moscow did. But you never know, he might not have. He might have just had a really tight corner exit off of turn 2, so right now he's still performing pretty well, sitting inside of the 14th position. He was 13th, but he did lose one spot. Of course, he might have lost it to Val Moscow, unless if he didn't really pass him, but either way. 40 laps complete from here in the Darlington Raceway. Looks like Hernandez is trying to fend off. Actually, he did get a position on Tyler Belladonna. So it looks like Hernandez has managed to pass the number 4 of Tyler Belladonna from around the outside. Right up against the wall through 1 and 2. So give 9th over to Edson Hernandez on lap number 42. As they start lap 42, I should say. Looks like John Andrews is going to be the victim of the same thing. Matthew Hubert is going to move up into the 3rd spot. John Andrews wasting no time. He's going to try to get right back down to the inside, try to go back onto the offense to try to wrestle that 3rd spot away, but that's not going to quite happen. So it looks like Andrews is going to have to tuck in right where he's at in the 4th position as Matthew Hubert goes to 3rd. Crown goes up high quite a ways, and that's going to open up the door for Alex Savitali. The drive to the inside. Nope, not quite the case. Not quite the case here for this number 26. He's going to stay right there in that 6th position. Right behind Roberto Crown Jr. So Crown right now also getting the performance of a lifetime right now. Sitting in that 5th position. Doing a really nice job. It's only a matter of time before we get to green flag pit stops. I want to say they might come in right around, maybe around somewhere in the 60s. Since we are on ×1 pit frequency. Somehow, some way, I forgot that we were on ×1 pit frequencies, but it's fine. It's all good. That'll be fixed next Friday when we go to Kansas Speedway. But nonetheless, as of right now, looks like we're going to have ourselves a battle for the 2nd position that's going to be very short-lived as Hubert dips his car down onto the apron. That might open up the door for John Andrews to try to rocket around the outside. It's not quite the case, actually. As we're coming around to complete lap 46 as they cross the stripe. Coming down to 100 laps to go next time by as we're on lap 47. Looks like Savitali's going to lose a position to Rogel Dorn, so give 6th spot over to the number 1 machine. Rogaldorn, who started inside of the top 10. This is where he's been riding all race long. And it looks like Belladonna just got a spot. They got his 9th position back on Edson Hernandez. Heading back down into turn 1. So we do have change for track position, but it looks like a lot of the passes are being made around the outside. Let's kind of take a look back further in the field. Everybody kind of started to spread out a little bit single file, but I don't expect that to last for too long. Looks like Floyd's going to get around. Well, Floyd's going to get passed by DK Wood. That was for the 17th position. So initially, Wood retained. But as of right now, everybody's kind of just everybody's just doing a really nice job, kind of minding their own P's and Q's, kind of just buying their time. There's still plenty of ways to go here in this race. I kind of thought for a second, yeah, actually it looks like he is, but again, Fitzy down below the dotted line. Unfortunately, he's not going to be able to get any sort of position on the 88 of Val Moscow. But I thought he was, but that unfortunately just has not been the case. Stapleton going really high up against the wall. We got ourselves a battle for track position. That's Tatiana Noguera and also Casey Wells. Looks like Wells might get that position. Actually, the 21's kind of just hanging on for the time being, right up until that point. Getting down onto the apron, that will allow Casey Wells to drive away with the 21st position. There's our Daytona 500 winner, BB Hange, sitting in 20th right now. Not exactly where he wants to be, as he's going to try to go around the 48 down on the inside, but right there, down on the apron. Again, a lot of these drivers are constant. This is a constant mistake that a lot of these drivers are making, and they're not 100% capitalizing on learning from that mistake, unfortunately. So these drivers, this is probably going to be a common. This has been a common theme thus far, and it's going to continue to be a common theme until this checkered flag waves. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see how the rest of this race is going to play out, as we are just past 100 laps to go, 52 laps complete. There's 95 laps to go here in the Southern 500 here at Darlington. Belladonna goes high. Here comes Edson Hernandez down to the inside. Not going to have the pass made, but it was technically started. Man, Belladonna has just been trying everything he possibly could to try to wrestle 8th place away from the 16 of Felber, but hasn't really gotten a whole lot of luck there, as he got down on the apron twice on the entry into turn 1 and on the exit of turn number 2. And he lost a lot of momentum there, but I thought, oh, Val Moscow making a move underneath of Skylar Taylor. This would be the battle for the 13th position, or the 12th position rather. Coming around through turn number 2. He's going to get down on the apron. He's going to lose a little bit of momentum. And he's going to tuck right back in that 13th position. That could have opened the door for Zachary Fitzwater to move up high. He's going to do just that, but not going to have the run on corner exit like Fitzy would have hoped for. But so far everything has been clean and green. Excuse me. I do apologize, guys. I am still just kind of waking up. I am still kind of waking up. I've been out of bed for the last 2 hours, and getting out of bed for me right now just has not been easy, but I'm trying to fix that. Little by little, I can tell you that much. Looks like Savitali. Whoops. Still sitting in the 7th position as of right now, but either way, This season has been just absolutely spectacular for him. He got a win in Martinsville, almost got his second win of the season last week at Talladega. But all throughout this season, he's been performing pretty consistently. And he's been doing a really nice job. He and John Andrews, undisputably, in my opinion, have both been the most consistent drivers of the McDonald's Cup Series roster thus far. At least this early in the season. And they have been doing an absolutely fantastic job here in the 2024 McDonald's Cup Series season. Especially not 8 races in, almost 9. Here comes, oh man, my goodness gracious. You just saw that right there with the number 26 of Savitali. He almost got to the inside of the number 1 of Rogel Dorn, as Dorn was trying to make a pass on Roberto Crown Jr. He's going to try it around the outside and he'll move up inside of the top 5. So give that 5th spot to Rogel Dorn. Looks like Dorn is performing a little bit of magic right around the outside. And you have to wonder, do you think all these other drivers are going to try to do the exact same thing that Rogel Dorn is doing? It's like he's trying something. He's getting that line worked up. He tries it. He goes around the outside. He makes it work. And here he is. I believe the last time we checked in with him, he was 7th. And now here he is, inside of the top 5. As we come around to complete 60 laps here in the Southern 500, here in the Darlington Raceway for the 9th inning of the NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series. If you're just now tuning in, 60 laps have been completed. We're closing in on our first and what might be our only round of green flag pit stops, because my dumb self did not put in the pit frequencies on ×2. I left them on ×1 by accident because I just wanted to get this race done. But PJ Vidal has led every single lap thus far, and pretty much I'd say he is well on his way. If he's able to stay right where he's at for the rest of this race, or at least up until the halfway point, I think it's pretty safe to say that he would clinch those 5 bonus points for leading the most laps. I'd say that is really safe to say. They come around through turn number 4, completing lap 62 this time. Here comes Rogel Dorn. He tried around the outside. He's going to duck low on the 17 of John Felber, but he's going to get right down on the apron. That's going to cause him to lose momentum. That might open up the door for Roberto Crown Jr. to drive around the outside. He's going to do exactly that. So give that 5th position back to Roberto Crown Jr. as Dorn's going to fall back into the 6th position. That almost opened up the door for Alex Savitali and everybody else to drive around this one car on the outside. But that ain't the case at all. Side by side, what looks to be for the 9th spot. I thought Hernandez would have had it, but that is not the case. So unfortunately, Hernandez is going to lose that. He's going to lose the opportunity to get up to that 9th position. It's pretty amazing to me of how Cologne has tried to pass this number 13 only one time, and that was earlier in the race when they were side by side right up until this point. And Cologne just has not made any effort to pass this number 13 whatsoever, but I would not count on Stephen Cologne staying back here for this long, because depending on how pit stops go, Stephen Cologne just might be able to get himself into the race lead. You never quite know. You just don't know in races like these. But we have been caution-free up to this point, closing in on the halfway mark of this race, right around the lap 73, 74 area here for the Southern 500. from here, the Darlington Raceway. So far, our top 10 is looking like this as of right now. This is before we have our first round of green flag stops, and it might be our only round of green flag stops. Of course, PJ Vidal, the race leader, he has had the lead ever since the drop of the green flag. Stephen Colon sitting in the second position, Hubert third. Four-car fight here for this fourth position, as John Andrews is currently holding on to that fourth position. Roberto Crown Jr. would be fifth, but he's going to lose that spot to Rogel Dorn as he rockets around the outside. So give the fifth position over to Rogel Dorn. Then sixth will be Roberto Crown Jr. Seventh will be the 26 of Alex Savatali. Eighth, John Felber. Ninth, Tyler Belladonna. And Edson Hernandez would be rounding out the top 10 as we come around to complete lap number 68 this time by to start lap number 69. Back down into turns 1 and 2. Let's take a look back further deeper into the field. Got a battle here between Josh Lee and Travis Crampton. This would be the battle for the 27th position. You might be able to give this spot here to the number 34, but no, not so fast. Crampton rockets around the outside. So retaining the 27th position is Travis Crampton. Sammy Carr's getting really close to that outside wall. Almost scraping it. But so far, Moscow has been the only driver that has been victim to the outside wall. Only driver's been victim of the Darlington stripe so far in this race. Side by side between Avon Murray and as well as the 43 of Sammy Cars. Lee and Crampton are also fighting side by side. So both of those drivers will retain their positions, 43-22, as they have both rocketed around the outside of Murray and also Josh Lee. We are also coming up on the halfway point here very soon. We basically kind of came close to entering that territory. Apologies there, I had a little bit of a phlegm buildup, but lap 72 complete. We are now right around the halfway point from here at the Southern 500 to the Darlington Raceway. Fitzy has taken the 13th position away from Val Moscow. And I thought for a moment that if Moscow stayed in the line where he was at for just a little bit longer, he would have lost the 14th position to Nathan Stapleton. Stapleton is having himself a really good day thus far, as we are now past the halfway mark here in the Southern 500. 73 or 74 laps to go here at the Darlington Raceway. And everyone, for the most part, has kind of stayed right where they are as far as position-wise is concerned. But Stapleton, I think this might be a good thing for Stapleton, because he's been doing, again, as I've mentioned, he just hasn't had a good start to the season. He has some good performances, but unfortunately we get caught up in incidents that weren't even his fault whatsoever. But here tonight, performing really well. I believe this might be the longest that he's ever held on to top 15/top 20 spot without incident. So I'd say I take this as a win for Nathan Stapleton if he's able to hang on here for the final, coming up on 72 laps from here in the Darlington Raceway for the 9th race of the season. This would be a really good point stay for him if once we move over to Kansas next Friday. Then we also have the Indiana Bash in 2 weeks on a Thursday, May 23rd. So that's going to be a fun one. And Stapleton, you betcha, is going to be taking part in that one. Here we go. Pit stops are taking place just past the halfway mark. Here they are. Vidal comes in. Steidl and also Alex Rampus, they have completed service to their cars, so they are down and away. But our leaders are in. Vidal, Cologne, Huber, Rogel, Dorn, Hernandez, Belladonna, Taylor, Wood, Sustry is coming in. John Andrews, our points leader, is making his way to pit road this time by. So give the lead to the 51 of Roberto Crown Jr. Who else is coming with John Andrews? Looks like Michael Young. I see Terry Walker is in. Wells, Hange, Josh Lee, Michael DeFeo, Bryce Egan, Simpson. We've yet to see more cars come on down to pit road. I believe Roberto Crown Jr. is going to be amongst those with Savatali and John Felber. That is indeed the case. Durrani's coming in. Fitzy's coming in. Moscow. Sebastian Palmer. Murray. Hamill. Parrish. Johnson. Kronkowski. Adams. Colin Block is in. Wyatt Walker, I believe, was one of the drivers that ended up pitting first, so he does have fresher tires. Nathan Stapleton did lead this lap. And so Stapleton will be surrendering the lead and coming down to pit road this time. Bringing Bob Floyd, Tatiana Noguera, Sammy Cars, Travis Crampton, Mitchell O'Brien, Matt Jones. All down the pit road with him. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Wyatt Walker... Actually, I believe Wyatt Walker's up here with these guys. I believe that's the case. Wyatt Walker, I believe, is going to take the lead here in Darlington. Let's see. Let's find out if Wyatt Walker is the new race leader here at the Darlington Raceway. Indeed, that is the case. Wyatt Walker has taken the lead here at the Darlington Raceway for the first time here today. We have a new leader. It is Wyatt Walker leading the way here in the Southern 500. PJ Vidal is going to fall back into the second position, which means Stephen Cologne will be kicked back to third. Cologne be kicked back to third. Hubert fourth. Rogel Dorn will be kicked back to fifth. Then Edson Hernandez moves up to sixth. Skylar Taylor seventh. Nia Steidl eighth. John Andrews ninth. Tyler Belladonna the top 10. So a different look to the top 10 here tonight. This time with Wyatt Walker taking the lead here in the Southern 500. 81 laps complete. Might have ourselves a battle for second. That's very short-lived as Stephen Cologne gets down on the apron, as he falls into the clutches of the 23 of Matthew Hubert. Meanwhile, Vidal, even if Vidal doesn't win this race, he still has had himself a really good points day. But here he comes down to the inside of Wyatt Walker. Battle for the race lead is on. Back down to the one. Vidal gets down on the apron. So far, that hasn't made too much of a difference for him. Gets down on the apron again. But Vidal has probably had the strongest car of the day. But even then, even if he does have the strongest car of the day, that apron is no match. He is no match for the apron. No car is any match for the apron whatsoever. And Walker right now is doing himself an amazing job holding on to the position that he's at right now. And Vidal is still trying everything he can to try to get that race lead back away from Wyatt Walker. But Walker, again, still doing a masterful job right where he's at right now. And Vidal he was just absolutely trying, working his tail end off to try to get that race lead away, but that apron again proving to be no match whatsoever, and he almost lost that second position to Steven Colon. So I think Vidal's having to think twice here, and he's gonna have to tuck right back in. Or will he? Excuse me. I forgot to mute there. Sorry, guys. Vidal coming back down on the inside. He edges ahead. He edged ahead. Trying to take the lead. He's got it, at least for the moment. He did a pretty good job of holding on to that top spot. But again, here he comes to the inside. VJ Vidal's gonna take the lead back just across the stripe. Wyatt Walker holding on the outside. And Vidal is gonna clear the 99 at least for now. But Walker's still holding on, dude. Walker is still holding on. Vidal trying to take... Oh my goodness gracious. Vidal is literally driving like the rent is due. Both of these drivers are racing like the rent is due right now. But Vidal is going to clear the 99 for now. But here comes Wyatt Walker right back on the attack. And while all that is happening, that's allowing Steven Colon and everybody else to drive up, but it looks like this time the battle has been won by PJ Vidal. He finally wrestles the lead away from the 99 of Wyatt Walker. Walker is now going to have to tuck into that second position. But that was a very valiant effort by Wyatt Walker to hold on and try to defend the race lead away from the 13 of PJ Vidal. Here comes Steven Colon to the inside. Colon now going to try to wrestle second away from that number 99. So far, he hasn't had any sort of issue whatsoever. Gets down on the apron. But Walker again, holding on. But yeah, Vidal has easily clinched those 5 bonus points for leading the most laps. That's undisputed. That 100% is undisputed. But now heading back through turns 1 and 2. Walker may just be able to set his sights back on the number 13 of Vidal. That was actually some really good racing right there between the 99 and the 13. Meanwhile, here we go. Battle for, looks like for the 4th spot. Vidal, well, not Vidal, excuse me. Huber trying to go for 3rd. Not quite the case, but here comes Rogel Dorn. Who I thought was going to have an opportunity to try to take 4th away from the number 23. But not quite the case there. "92 laps complete. Vidal has wrestled the race lead back from the number 99 of Wyatt Walker. And now he falls into the clutches of Steven Colon. But as looks like the number 13 of Vidal has checked out to at least a 0.4 of a second advantage. And here comes Colon again. Right back down to the inside. He gets down on the apron there, but still hanging tough right there on the inside. He's going to try again here. But Walker just holding on right now. I think he might just have to hold on for that second spot. Hold on to that second position. Vidal at this point is checking out, so he might, I think, it might be no contest here as long as nothing happens to PJ Vidal. This race is his to win. But still, pretty great effort there for Wyatt Walker to hold on to the race lead for as long as he was able to. But I don't know if he's going to be able to try to get back to the race lead. Not with Stephen Colon breathing all the way down to the back bumper, trying to get to the inside. Wait a minute, is the yellow out? The caution's out. Caution is out on lap number 96. And I don't believe it was for any incident whatsoever. It could have been just for debris. So a caution on lap number 96 here at the Darlington Raceway. And you see the intangible sheriff pace car just phasing right through everybody like it's no one's business. So a caution coming out on lap number 96 here at the Darlington Raceway. This is the first one of the day. Lots of cars coming down pit road, being led by Stephen Colon, Hubert, Dorn, Hernandez, Taylor, Steidel, Andrews, the rest of the crowd coming down pit road. And a good portion of cars are also staying out as well. So lots of split strategies here at the Darlington Raceway, possibly to potentially try to get some track position. It's going to be very, very interesting. Let's go back and take a look and see what what was the cause of our first yellow flag of the day here at the Darlington Raceway. Also trying to clear up a ping as well. Let's go back and take a look. It might have just been for debris, but I'm not 100% certain. Just gonna look. The caution lights are on right here. But it doesn't look like there was really any incident on the racetrack. So we can 100% confirm this was a debris caution. This was a yellow flag for debris from here, the Darlington Raceway. That is honestly probably one of the most bizarre things I think I've ever seen from here for the McDonald's Cup Series. We go green for so long, and then we get down to a spot where it's almost 50 laps to go. We get a debris caution. So this is going to shake up the entire look of the top 10 as we know it. So we have a different look. And actually, hold on a minute. Vidal and Wyatt Walker. So a lot of the other drivers that stayed out the last lap, looks like they might be coming in and pitting this lap. Actually, it might be just those two. Vidal and Wyatt Walker, both of them are coming down to pit. That's interesting. But that is also kind of unfortunate as well, because Walker had some really good track position, and PJ Vidal, he started on pole, he led the most laps. Those bonus points have been easily clinched. So it's interesting to me of how he's basically coming in and not really pit. He's just coming in and just pitting. Looks like 4 tires on the on this number 13 machine, but this is going to give the lead to Roberto Crown Jr. in the 51 machine. So our top 10 is going to have a much different look as we go back green this time by. Race leader is now going to be Roberto Crown Jr. Alex Savitali will be restarting in second. John Felber third. Ryan Durrani fourth. Then fifth will be the number 83 of Sebastian Palmer. PJ Vidal being scored in the 6th position, but it's going to be Avon Murray 6th. Will Parrish 7th. Zachary Fitzwater 8th. Derek Hamill 9th. And Bob Floyd will round out the top 10 when we go back green this time by. So a much different look to the top 10. A much different outcome to this race, really, no less. As we get ready to restart on lap 100 with 48 laps of racing to go from the Darlington Raceway. This is going to be a very interesting conclusion to the Southern 500, the 9th race of the NRLOA McDonald's Cup Series. If you're just now tuning in, we had a debris caution back on lap number 96. We're getting ready to restart on lap 100. A much different look to the top 10. PJ Vidal led a good portion of this race up till lap 97, lap 98 when he came down pit road, and it hands the lead over to Roberto Crown Jr. So let's see what the racing's going to look like amongst these drivers as they work their way through turn number 4. Pace car dips to pit road, and the field is put into the hands of the 51 of Roberto Crown Jr. He's going to lead him back to the green flag with 48 laps to go. Green flag back in the air. We're back to racing. Good start by everybody. Everybody just running single file, at least for the moment. A perfect single file formation at that, as they hit the back straightaway back into turn 3. Palmer goes up high, at least for a little while. You see a little frame droppage there. I'm not 100% sure what that could be, but I do apologize for that. As they hit the back straightaway once more. 100 laps complete, 47 laps to go from here at Darlington. Here comes Ryan Durrani to the inside of John Felber. This is a side-by-side battle for third as they head down into turn number 1. Durrani's going to lose a little bit of momentum. That might open up the door for Sebastian Palmer to drive around the outside. Looks like Palmer didn't get to the back bumper quick enough. So now top 3 start to check out with Crown holding on. Savitalic still trying to go for his second win of the season. This is the second week in a row that he's been at this particular point. But so far, so good here for this number 26 machine. This pretty much just shows what kind of a season that this number 26 has had. I mean, of course, a really strong season. He won Martinsville. He's trying to go for win number 2 on the year. Roberto Crown Jr., another driver, still trying to go for his first career win. He might just do that here at the Darlington Raceway here tonight. Got a lot of side-by-side battles going on here. Let's take a look at those as we hit the back straightaway. Looks like Stephen Colon trying to get by the 27 to Dale Johnson. Everybody trying to get around the 27 to Dale Johnson. Looks like that's going to be the case. Almost 3 wide as they came off of turn number 4. A little bit of lag there. Didn't have that towards the beginning of the race, but now as we get down towards the end, that's kind of interesting. Lap 104 complete on the books. And we might see a lot of these other drivers that were up towards the front of the field, like Stephen Colon, for instance. They're going to start bulldozing their way through the field. So far, Colon has moved up into the 14th position. And our pole sitter for this race, PJ Vidal, where is he, you ask? Right now, sitting dead last. I don't think he's gained any sort of positions whatsoever. Oh, Hubert trying to make that bottom work. He was down there on the apron. Left sides were dipped below the dotted line. He's going to be able to get that position on Chad Gronkowski. And now sets his sights on Nathan Stapleton to try to get that 11th position away. He's right there, all over the back bumper of the number 42. Stapleton goes high. Here comes Hubert down low. Hubert really starting to make that bottom line work. They are 3 wide, at least for a second, as Hamill manages to get by. Hamill manages to get away from that 3 wide situation, but he's going to end up losing more positions, and this is allowing Hubert to move up inside of the top 10. So Matthew Hubert's starting to make a comeback. Hernandez is not too far behind him. Tyler Belladonna trying to do the same thing. But the story right here is Matthew Hubert is literally putting on a clinic, trying to pass everybody left and right. He's really starting to make that bottom work and doing an absolutely masterful job at that. He's worked his way up into the 8th spot, now trying to go for more down on the inside. He's going to go for 7th. He's going to take it. Now 6th, 2 birds with 1 stone. How about this drive here for the 23 of Matthew Hubert? 3 birds with 1 rock. He might try to go for 4 with 1 boulder if he can do it. Down to the inside. There he goes. There he goes. Hubert literally just driving the wheels off this 23. He's gone from 8th to 6th to 3rd. And now here he is setting his sights on the 26 and the 51. He is literally right here. He is, I don't know where he restarted, but he had to have restarted at least mid-pack. And he has methodically moved his way up through the field. He's now up into 2nd. He's going for the race lead. He has made that bottom work to perfection. Give the 23 of Matthew Hubert the race lead with 36 laps to go. Here in the Southern 500, he is checking out. Felber and Hernandez have also found their way back inside of the top 10. Well, Felber's been here all race long, but Hernandez making that bottom work. He goes to the inside. He moves up into 4th. So a lot of drivers are now, that bottom is really starting to come to life here tonight at the Darlington Raceway. Hernandez now going to set his sights on Roberto Crown Jr. for 2nd. Belladonna's trying to knock on the door of the top 5. Let's see if he goes low. He's going to do just that. Hernandez right in front of him is doing the exact same thing. He'll move up into 2nd, and he'll go for the race lead. He's going to set his sights on 1st place. On Matthew Hubert is checked out by almost a 2.5 seconds. Belladonna is right there. He's going to try to follow. Nia Steidel poking her head inside of the top 10. Currently scored a 9th. Now going to try to wrestle 8th spot away from the 16 of Matthew Hubert. 3 wide back there. Between the... Oh my goodness gracious. Cologne literally made it 3 wide. Through turn 3, I believe it might have been with Andrews. John Andrews, speaking of, he's in the wall. He has fallen victim to the Darlington stripe, so now that's 2 cars that have fallen victim to the Darlington stripe. But how about this? The story of the race. The outside line has been the preferred way to go. Now the story has changed. The bottom is the most preferred line here at the Darlington Raceway. How about that? Everybody now starting to make that bottom work. Even if you clip the apron, it doesn't even make a difference. At this point, I think Hubert is 100% checked out from everybody right now. He's just in a zip code of his own. 1 1/3 seconds over the 31 of Edson Hernandez. Hernandez is running him down, but this right here is just absolutely pandemonium in the final stages of the Southern 500. The top 5 have all been spread out by at least 0.8 of a second apart from each other. 7 to 8 seconds apart from each other. 0.8, 7 to 0.8 of a second apart from each other. That's what I meant to say. This is what the top 5 looks like until you get back here. Dorn holding on to 6th. John Andrews 7th. Roberto Crown Jr. looks like he's going to lose that 8th. Looks like he's going to lose that spot to Stephen Colon. There he goes to the inside. So Colon moves up to 8th. Rampus moving up. How about that for Alex Rampus? He started towards the back of the field, and now here he is. He's making a late race charge. So is Josh Lee. Michael Young, I think, might be sizing up to do the same thing. And where is PJ Vidal, you ask? He started on pole. He's gained 12 positions. He's up to 30th. There he is. 30th position. Now trying to gain more. He's gotten 29th thus far. Now trying to go to the inside of Derek Hamill. He's going to get the 28th position away. But that bottom line has absolutely been working up a storm. Once we restarted this second green flag run. Oh my goodness, Bryce Egan just cut down in front of the 13. That was honestly really close right there. I thought that would have been an absolute storm of a wreck there if Egan had cut down in front of the 13 way too late. Meanwhile, Josh Lee has moved up to 10th. Looks like Michael Young is going to tuck in right where he's at. He's pretty much just riding right where he's at in the 11th spot. Skylar Taylor getting around. Looks like Roberto Crown Jr., Michael DeFeo, our winner from Fontana, is up here. Looks like he might try to go for the 12th spot, or the 13th spot on Roberto Crown Jr. There he goes, down low. Walker's going to follow. Well, Wyatt's going to follow. Here comes Terry Walker in the 48. He might have been overhearing what I was saying about his performance at the beginning of the season. Looks like he's turning that around along with Wyatt Walker here tonight at the Darlington Raceway. Remember, Wyatt's led some laps. Terry hasn't really led anything. Terry did not lead any laps at all tonight, but so far he is absolutely doing a masterful job. Now going to try to go around Roberto Crown Jr. on the outside, as they head back down into turn 1. So father and son are currently 14th and 15th right now inside of the top 15 with less than 25 laps to go here in the Southern 500 here in the Darlington Raceway. Now everybody's starting to spread out, but Edson Hernandez is now under a second behind the 23 of Matthew Hubert. A half a second back from Hernandez is the 4 of Tyler Belladonna. 7/10 back from him is the 38 of Damian Kyle Wood, the highest running Ford thus far in this race. Nia Steidel, also another week where she's doing an absolutely amazing job. She's definitely going to get some points under her belt. Definitely going to get some more points under her belt, as she probably might move herself into the top 10 in the points after tonight. So it's going to be really interesting to see if that's going to 100% be the case. Lap 125 complete. 22 laps of racing to go from here at the Darlington Raceway. 21 laps to go, excuse me. 21 to go here at the Darlington Raceway. 2/3 of a second between Hubert and Hernandez. Both drivers trying to go for their first wins of the season. Belladonna trying to go for his second. Remember, he won at Phoenix at the beginning of the year. 20 to go. Here in the Southern 500, here at the Darlington Raceway. Vidal has moved his way inside of the top 20, so that number 13 is absolutely charging through the field right now. Restarted in the caboose. He's moved up to 20th. Well, now in the 19th position. Now going to try to set his sights on the 20 of Jeremiah Simpson. This number 13 is has been an absolute rocket ship since we restarted this race. He went to the back of the field. He's now moved his way up to 19th. Now try to go for 18th on the number 20 of Jeremiah Simpson. And I'm going to say again, regardless of where he finishes in this race, this is going to be a pretty good points day for him because he started on pole. He got his bonus point for leading a lap. He got the 5 bonus points for leading the most laps. And whatever other points he's gonna garner from wherever he finishes, all those bonus points do add up. So nonetheless, he has had himself a really, really good race here at the Darlington Raceway. Next Friday, of course, we go to Kansas Speedway for the running of the STP 400. It's gonna be a really fun one. And we're looking forward to you guys enjoying that race from the Kansas Speedway next Friday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. That's going to be a really fun one. A third of a second now between Hubert and Hernandez. Less than 20 laps to go, coming around to 15 to go next time by. The top 3 have all basically bunched right back up together. Just to check in on the number 13 of PJ Vidal, still sitting 19th. He's going to try to go for 18th on Jeremiah Simpson here very, very soon. So I wouldn't be too surprised to see him move up into the 18th here very soon. 15 laps to go from the Darlington Raceway, the Southern 500. And we're sizing up for a really good finish here to this event. Damian Kyle Wood starting to slowly creep up into the picture along with Nia Steidel. Very slowly but surely, but I don't think they're going to have enough time to really pull up and try to make any sort of effort to try to make some moves, try to make passes. I don't think they're going to have enough time to do it. But they are slowly gaining on the top 3 as of right now. But so far, Hubert has led every single lap since taking the race lead away from Roberto Crown Jr. But Anson Hernandez, I believe he's going to try to make that bottom work. Remember, both of these drivers have yet to score a win here this season. Hernandez performing really well in the points standings right now, the highest driver in the points standings without a win this season. So looks like he's trying to add to that category, try to add a 1 in the wins column. And he's got at least another 12 laps to do just that. Remember, Tyler Belladonna trying to go for win number 2 on the season. And he's in prime position to do just that if he can get by both the 31 and the 23. But he's going to have 11 more laps to do it. If he wants this race win, he's definitely have to go now. Tyler Belladonna cannot waste any time trying to tuck in that 3rd position. But neither can Edson Hernandez. He's going to try to go for the race lead. But he clipped the apron. It looks like that bottom is not working anymore. That top looks like has come back to life for Matthew Hubert. That might be an absolute miracle for this number 23 as they close in on 10 laps of racing to go here at the Darlington Raceway. Hernandez is going to lose some ground. And while all that's happening, that is allowing the 38 of DK Wood to move up ever so slightly. It's been an absolute good race thus far. Here for the Southern 500, only one caution. We've been green for pretty much most of this race. We have not had a yellow for incident, just a caution for debris. And that was the difference maker here to this race. Let's go back further back in the field. Stephen Colon, John Andrews. Looks like they're going to fight it out here for the 7th position, but nonetheless, good points day for Stephen Colon and a great rebound after last week, after what happened to him at Talladega, after he got turned into the outside wall by his own teammate Val Mosco. Mosco ended up going on to have a slightly better performance than Colon, but I bet Colon is definitely thinking, he's probably gotten the information of where Val Mosco is. Currently still sitting dead last. He's probably thinking to himself, revenge. Revenge is definitely the best thing. Is definitely the best dish served cold. And I believe with this performance, I believe he might have just served it cold to Val Mosco, Colon did. Another great points day for Alex Rampus. Josh Lee also going to get a great points day, sitting in that 10th position. An absolutely amazing job here for Josh Lee. And I believe this might be his first top 10 of the season, as we're now starting to work our way through traffic. Coming up to 5 laps to go next time by. Hubert and Hernandez nose to tail. Hubert's going to go high. Hernandez will follow. They're 3 wide here for just a split second. Nia Steidel side by side for 4th on Damian Kyle Wood, but she's going to get down onto the apron, but that won't make any difference whatsoever. Meanwhile, up front, challenge for the lead. Here comes Matthew. Here comes Edson Hernandez to the inside of the 23 of Matthew Hubert. This lap traffic is absolutely not paying any sort of dividends for Hubert whatsoever. It's still not going to, as Crampton moves up in front of the 23. So Hernandez goes to the race lead thanks to lap traffic. Belladonna goes to 2nd. Steidel moves to 3rd. They come to 3 to go next time by. And just like that, Edson Hernandez is starting to absolutely start to check out. Here they come to 3 to go. The bottom is starting to work. Three more laps here at the Darlington Raceway. Here for the Southern 500. Hernandez checking out. Belladonna right there. Well, not right there, but he's a 1/3 of a second back, being held up by the 3 of Mitchell O'Brien. Oh, that lap traffic did not help Edson Hernandez whatsoever. They come to 2 laps to go. It didn't really make much of a difference there for Edson Hernandez, but here comes Tyler Belladonna to the inside. Still trying to go for win number 2 on the season. He clips the apron. That's going to help Edson Hernandez. That might be all he needs. Sammy Cars is going to continue to hold up the number 4. They come around through turns 3 and 4. The white flag will fall this time by. White flag in the air. 1 more lap to go here at Darlington. Hernandez leads it. Will he be leading? Coming back to the checkered flag. We're about to find out. Hernandez continuing to methodically work his way through the lap traffic, setting his sights on Nathan Stapleton as they head down the back straightaway one final time. I think this might have just sealed the deal. Coming around through turns 3 and 4, Edson Hernandez had yet to score a win this season. He's going to do just that. Checkers are in the air. Edson Hernandez will win the Southern 500 here in Darlington. 9 races, 9 different winners. Coming into this race, Edson Hernandez was the highest running driver in points that did not have a win. That all changes here tonight at the Darlington Raceway. He finally not only gets his first McDonald's Cup Series win, he finally adds a win into the wins column. He'll get some really good, valuable points as well. And Tyler Belladonna, again, another driver who is really close to nabbing his second win of the season. That is twice, 2 weeks in a row, where a driver that has already won this season has gotten close to their second win of the year. But Belladonna will have to settle for the second position. You see there Matthew Hubert third, naming Kyle Wood fourth. Nia Steidel, another stellar performance for the number 41 machine. She finishes inside of the top 5. And then Rogel Dorn, John Andrews. Looks like he's going to be able to maintain his points lead going to Kansas next Friday. Alex Rampus, Josh Lee, Stephen Colon rounding out the top 10. Skylar Taylor, Michael Young. Everybody pretty much finishing on the lead lap until you all get all the way down to 31st position. Bob Floyd finishing as the last car on the lead lap, and then everybody else was one lap down. So every single driver managed to finish the race. We only had one caution, and that was for debris. But what a great race here at the Darlington Raceway. Of course, for what it was, not a whole lot of action until after that first yellow flag. When we got back to racing, saw lots of great passes, saw the top 10, pretty much the whole field shake up, and it allowed drivers like Edson Hernandez to nab his first win of the season and of his McDonald's Cup Series career. This will help him tremendously in the point standings. Alex Savatali finishing 23rd. That's going to hurt him. He is one of those drivers that's going to end up getting probably going to take a hit in the point standings. That is for sure. But definitely not going to knock him out of the top 10. But if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to keep an eye on the Discord. Keep an eye on the Discord for the point standings. Those will be coming up very shortly once this premiere concludes. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. If you like this, be sure to give it a like. And if you haven't considered subscribing yet, I recommend you do so in order to keep up with some fine content coming out in the near future. If you're watching on Twitch, be sure to hit that follow button so you do not miss a future stream. But that's pretty much going to do it. Next Friday, we'll be going to the Kansas Speedway for the STP 400. That's going to be a fun one. And we hope to see you there next Friday night at the Kansas Speedway. Congratulations to Edson Hernandez on winning the Southern 500 at Darlington. I'm Elijah Leonard signing out, and we'll see you next Friday at Kansas.